Chandler Rome with the Anniston Star. Ryan, where have you seen Jalen? I don't know how much film you watched of him last season, but how much did you watch of him last season? How much has he improved as a passer, both from the spring and now into the fall camp?
He's an extremely hard worker, dedicated to his craft as a young man to try to play the position the best he can. You know, I've watched every piece of film that he's had, whether it's last year or in the spring. And our goal, our mantra really, not just for Jalen, but for all the quarterbacks and the guys on our team, is to improve every single day with their fundamentals, because it doesn't matter what play you call, you scheme, it doesn't really matter until you really perfect your fundamentals. At the end of the day, when it's crunch time, the team that plays with good fundamentals usually has the best chance to win. So he's really improved his feet and his eyes and where he's going with the football. But we're third day of training camp. We'll just keep grinding away, try to string some good ones together. But I appreciate the effort that he's put in. Great young man, really dedicated, smart, tough. So we'll keep grinding away with him.
Up front here with John Zena.
John Zena with Associated Press. Hi. First off, I'm going to ask 2 questions. One's kind of loaded, but why do you work so well with coaches that are so not only successful but perfectionist, intense guys?
I was raised by some old school grandparents. It wasn't always easiest to sometimes. They're pretty demanding, but it's a mindset. You have a boss, you have a job, and you're hired for a reason. And you have to know there's a hierarchy to every organization. So the leader of the organization is the guy that you take the lead from. And whatever he asks you to do, that's what you do. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And if you don't do it, there's always consequences, particularly in this business. So I got a tremendous amount of respect for Bill and Coach Saban. They've been great mentors. Obviously, extremely smart, extremely successful. And I appreciate the way they do things. They make it easy to work for. There's a standard. You know the standard. You got to meet it every day. And if you don't, there's consequences. I think it's very fair. It's demanding, but I like the work environment for those guys.
And another Jalen question. It would be easy for people to forget because of how well he did, but he was still a freshman, and also that there's some pretty good defensive coaches trying to adjust and figure out how to stop him. How much do you mentioned his maturity, how do you think he's handled kind of the good and bad, the high praise and the awards and the criticism as well?
We don't talk too much about that. I just know that he's a guy he loves the game. He loves learning about the game, and that's all you can really ask of these young players is they come in, they commit to working hard, they do the things you ask them to do, they try to improve every day. And take it one day at a time. Don't look too far behind you. Don't look way far ahead. We have such a long way to go for anything. Let's try to conquer today. Let's try to do the best job we can do today with what we're asked to do, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Can we learn from prior experiences? Sure. You'd be foolish not to. But really, our focus every day is how do we handle this day to be as good as we can be.
Okay. Come back over here to Aaron.
Aaron Suttles, Tuscaloosa News. What little bit of practice we get to see? We see you, and you're nearly giving feedback on every rep. Is that something, and a lot of it has been positive from what we hear on the practice field, is that something that you've just evolved, or you find players respond to, your positivity?
Well, it might not always be positive. You teach them what to do, you show them how to do it, and you accept no excuses. That's how I was raised in this business. So if there's something that's not run properly, you fix it. If it's run the way you want it to run, you give some encouragement. Every play is not going to be perfect, but we got to take care of the big things. Ball security, knowing where to go with the football, understanding our reads. There's a million things you can tell a player on every play. And, there's a lot of things in football. There's so many different plays and verbiages. Make sure you take care of the big things first, and then you work on the little details as you go. So you just, you stay on. That's your job as a coach.
Come over here to Michael.
Michael, customer at AL.com. You worked with Nick Saban early in his career as a head coach, and now what are some of the biggest differences you've seen in him?
That's a great question. There really hasn't. He's a pretty consistent individual. Whether I was a graduate assistant at Michigan State or here, doing this job, I've seen tremendous consistency, great leadership. gives you a set of instructions to do. Again, when there's structure and there's organization and there's things to be done and you have deadlines to do them and he tells you how he wants them done, then that's your job to go out there and do them. Whether you're a GA or you're a receiver coach or quarterback coach or whatever it may be, it's a good working environment. You know, he looks the same 20-some years ago. I can't say the same, but we got to get on his diet.
Go with Alex right here.
Alex Bond, Decatur Daily. I wanted to take you back. You know, your senior year, you obviously you had the injury as a junior. How much did that 1 year kind of set you on this path that you've kind of grown, and what did you learn that year? I understand you were quite rambunctious on the sidelines a little bit at that young age.
You know, disappointed that you couldn't play, obviously, but wanted to be part of it, which led basically into this career, where I went from there to William and Mary, and you know, was an only child and sending out a bunch of letters. And, I mean, a lot of letters. I didn't have any money. You know, everybody's got the story. You guys got the story. You come from wherever you come from, and you work hard to try to get there. And you know, fortunately, Coach Saban gave me an opportunity. You know, as far as being intense and focused, you know, I think that's kind of the way I've been since an early young age, and you know, it's just kind of my DNA, is to full steam ahead, be focused and be determined and be energetic, really do things, try to do them the best you can, do them the right way.
We're gonna try to get through 3 more, Coach, real quick. We'll start with Reiner here in the back.
Reiner Saban, AL.com. As far as your defensive background, how much do you think that has shaped your offensive philosophy? And number 2, New England ran a lot of rub routes and big plays. I mean, is that something you think can be used effectively at the college level?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that. So, what was the first thing again? Again, you started talking about football. I got me thinking about it. Yeah. So, sorry, defensive background. Yeah. So that's kind of where I started when I played, and you know, went from a small Division III school where we were very, very basic in what we did to a 1AA school where we didn't do a ton of things. And then when I got to Michigan State, it was like, holy cow! You know, I saw Coach Saban's playbook, and obviously he came from the Browns, and you know, putting it on a computer and learning that. I think learning the other side of the football and you know, experience at New England. You know, Coach Belichick has done that quite a bit too. You know, the defensive coordinator started on offense, the offensive coordinator started on defense. So understanding the game and how you're getting defended, and maybe some of the weak points and some of the coverages or the front schemes or the force alignments, you know, those that can be an advantage. You know, it doesn't mean it's going to be an advantage, but it can definitely be an advantage in terms of understanding how teams are playing you and maybe how you want to attack them formationally or use of motion or lined up empty or motion, whatever it may be. So I got to learn from Coach Saban and Coach Belichick, which you know, it's pretty good 2 guys to learn from in that regard.
2 more quick ones, Dwayne and then Scott to finish up.
Obviously, Alabama's had quite a few guys drafted, but when you got here and saw the talent level, what was your initial impression?
Yeah, I came in with really an open mind and tried to be an honest evaluator as I looked at it. And obviously in spring ball, you get to go out there in pads, which is a little different than pro football. We were out there in shorts and t-shirts and running around. And again, you know, there's obviously the NFL has an extremely high talent level. It's 1%. And the guys here are very talented. So you adjust your eyes, you see these young players that are coming out of high school. You know, a lot of good young players here. Just see, you know, if we can get them better too.
Last one in the back. Hand that to Scott, please.
Hey, Scott Griffin, 991 Smash Mouth Radio. Nice to have you here.
Thanks.
I just wondered about the adjustment on the recruiting trail. We talked about on field.
Yep.
How's that been for you? What's good? What's bad? I know Matt Corral was raving about you. I know you can't talk about individual players, but just tell us about that.
No, that's a great question. You know, I really enjoyed it. You know, you come in from spring ball and you get out on the road and you get to meet a lot of really good individuals, you know. A lot of really good high school football coaches out there. And, you know, sometimes you just go out to practice and watch how they operate and pick up some things and develop some relationships with both the coaching staff and the players. Really was an enjoyable time for me. to sit down and to do that aspect of it. You know, it's something that I hadn't done. But try to develop relationships and be a good person and steer guys the right way and be a straight shooter, which, you know, I try to be. You know, I've really enjoyed it. Enjoyed meeting these young players and develop relationship with the coaches. You know, came in with an open mind, and it was a good. It's been a good few months. You know, but now it's time to get to work. You know, 2 days in, we've got a big day today. A lot of new things going in. Guys got to be up to speed with it. Got to go as fast as we can to get them up to speed and demand they know it and do it the right way. And they got to take some accountability with it too. Go out there and have a good practice. That's the goal for today.
Thank you, Coach.